one more time.
Have anything? And a very pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to your Oklahoma Ford Dealers Game of the Week. Tonight, we are in Class 5A as the Noble Bears play host to the Altus Bulldogs. Hi again, everybody. I'm Steve Marshall. Dylan Rivera is alongside, and we are all set to bring you some exciting action tonight on your Oklahoma Ford Dealers Game of the Week. As you can see, both teams are gathering on the field. So, Dylan, you've got some notes as to what to watch for tonight between these two ball clubs.
Well, first of all, let's talk about last week. We're going to go back in time a little bit first. Looking at what Noble did last week, and it was kind of raved about by a lot of different news outlets because of the way it went to a high-scoring finish. It was 72-62, and that was at El Reno. A high-scoring affair. Both quarterbacks put up huge numbers. We're talking about 325 passing yards and 216 rushing yards for Dorian Plumlee of El Reno, and 244 passing yards and 181 rushing yards for Noble's quarterback Fisher, who I'll tell you you're going to need to watch for tonight. And then for the Altus side of things, they lost to Ardmore 28-0 last week, so didn't even put up a single point. So it goes from 72 for Noble to 0 for Altus. Two very different sides of the spectrum for you. And tonight we're going to see if maybe it's a continuation of that or if it's something different.
And also two very different type football teams. Altus has thrown 10 passes on the year. That's right, on the year. They do not have a receiver with more than one catch. They've spread it out amongst all their receivers. And here we go as they run that flexbone offense. The give goes to the fullback, Cade Dickerson. You'll see or hear his name a lot tonight as he runs it off the left side, picks up about 3 yards on the first down carry.
Yeah, if you're a fan of that new school high-scoring offense, you're probably not going to see that from Altus tonight. It's very ground and pound, straight up the gut. They're going to punch it in at you, and it's a lot of that, like you said, it's that
Flexbone.
Flexbone. I was going to say wishbone, but I was like, no, that's not right. It starts with an F. Flexbone. The flexbone offense, and so it's a lot of just rushing attempts where they're going to have that fullback be that lead blocker.
And again, the fullback gets the carry, and he's going to be out near first down yardage. They needed to get to the 39. Looks like he's going to get just enough for the first down. Dickerson on the season coming in 60 carries, so he's averaging about 12 yards per carry, 433 yards on the season, averages 7.2 a carry. He has scored 3 touchdowns on the year. We mentioned, of course, the fact that they don't throw the ball a lot, but they have 4 different rushers with over 200 yards rushing on the season, and you throw in a 5th who's at 170, so they like to spread the ball around even though it is a run-geared offense. 1st and 10. Dickerson this time met at the line of scrimmage, but he is a tough character. He's going to pick up a couple of yards when it looked like he was stopped at the line of scrimmage, of gain of 2 on the play.
Well, he's listed as 6 foot 220, but I'm telling you that is a hard, strong 220. He's going to go through you when he's got those legs churning. He's on tap to go to OU wrestling, so you know he's got that wrestler build to him and that wrestler physique and the wrestler mindset, of course, too. That's one thing. So he's going to get through that offensive line, and he's going to plow through those defenders.
Reminds me of Brett Berryhill, of course, the quarterback for Tuttle, who's now signed with the University of Oklahoma. He was the quarterback on the state championship team last year for the Tuttle Tigers. 2nd down and 8, and again the give. This time to the fullback, different fullback, however. He's going to get it across midfield, and a nice carry on the play as they go to number 24. That's going to be Joseph Buxton, I believe.
It's 44, actually.
44,
so Lathon
okay.
Peterson, yeah.
Lathon Peterson. So we'll have to keep our eyes quick in this game as they like to get to the line of scrimmage, figure out what they're going to do. A lot of times they will get there and then back out and check with the sidelines, but so far they like everything that they're seeing from this Noble defense as they've been able to pick up 2 first downs on this initial drive. Inside Noble territory. And they're going to pitch it to the near side. Looking for some running room. And he's going to be thrown down. Ball carrier there is Myshawn Wells. He's a senior, 5'9", 165. Wells comes in with right at 200 yards on the season, averages 6.7 a carry, but not much doing on that one.
Well, we've now seen all 3 of my players to watch tonight get handed the football already for the Altus Bulldogs. Cabe Dickerson, who is really more of a dual threat player because he can be that fullback that's going to pick you up yards on the offensive side of the ball, and on the defensive side of the ball, he leads the team in tackles with, I believe, 59 is the number. And then Myshawn Wells, the running back that is a little bit more of the speedster out of the backfield, and then that kind of secondary fullback in Lathon Patterson, who's a strong runner just the same as Cabe Dickerson.
There's a give there again to number 44, Patterson. They list him at 5'8", 200 pounds. He's a junior. And you can see right there, there was a big collision right there in the middle of line of the scrimmage, and he was able to lean forward, keep fighting, and pick up a couple of yards on the first down carry, or the second down carry in this case. Line of scrimmage will be the Bears' 45-yard line. Altus taking their time as quarterback Derek Beach gets under center. Beach give to the fullback, and he is met there by a, what do they call it, a herd of bears or a den of bears?
Swarm of bears.
Swarm of bears. And he wasn't going anywhere on that one, and that's going to bring up a 4th down situation for Altus. Just inside Noble territory and dropping deep to punt for the Bulldogs is number 18, Victor Velasquez.
And you can be the strongest runner on the football team, but it's going to be hard to run through Hunter Largent, who's 6'2", 315 pounds on that Noble defensive line. So even if you get your head start going to him, you're probably not going to get through him.
Punt rolls down inside the 10-yard line. That's going to take an Altus bounce and stop dead at about the 4-yard line. So the Bears let it bounce, and they're going to spot it at the 4. 1st and 10 for the Bears, their first possession. Still no score here in the opening quarter of this ball game.
Players to watch for the Noble Bears, Austin Fisher and Ezra Elkins, the quarterback and running back for the Bears. And Ezra Elkins ran for quite a few yards, I believe, last week. It was somewhere up in the 3 digits. And then, like I said, early on in the game, Fisher had 244 passing yards, 181 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns through the air, and 3 touchdowns on the ground as well. So he's that dual-threat quarterback that's going to keep this defense guessing.
Coming right at you there, number 2, that is Trevor Lorenz. And Lorenz is going to pick up some nice yardage, get it out across the 10-yard line. It's going to be just shy of first down yardage. Second down for the Noble Bears. Quick toss to the outside. Pass is caught in a great defensive play. That's going to stop them well short. Probably a loss on the play. And they're going to spot it about the 8-yard line. Line of scrimmage was the 10, and that'll bring up third down, and let's call it about 6.
The screen pass just trying to catch the defense off balance, catch them off guard, and see if maybe they can get a little bit more space back there, maybe clear up a good pocket for the quarterback to throw the ball.
Quarterback keeper, and he is wrapped up there by the big defensive lineman, number 75. That is Draven Wybera, 6'1", 320 defensive lineman. There is a flag in the play, and when the tackle was made, it looked like Wybera might have got the face mask, and in fact he did. So that's going to give Noble an automatic first down after what looked like a good stand by the Bulldogs. But I thought he got his hand in there. He tried to get it out real quick, but referee caught it, and it's going to be a first down for the Bears.
Well, and it seemed like he was coming off the block, and so you're going to stick that right arm out there and just try to slow the quarterback's momentum first and then get to him. So that right hand sticking it out there just got a little bit too high.
Running play to the far side. Nice cutback, and he's going to get into Altus territory. All the way down to the Bulldog 44-yard line. Now they're going to say he stepped out at the 49-yard line in Altus territory. So not quite as long a gain as I had originally thought.
Still a big gain, though. Ezra Elkins on the run there. It was about 15, 20 yards, I'd imagine, somewhere around that ballpark.
It's going to be tough to do better than Ezra tonight. Running play to the right side as you take a look at previous play.
Just switching to the sideline cam, I think, but it's always fun to see the little wipe, though. You always think that's the replay, isn't it?
Second down and about 5 inside Altus territory. Dropping the throw, and the pass is incomplete, trying to hook up there with number 19. That's Gavin Yeager, 6'3", 190. He's a senior.
And that's kind of the risk you run with a screen passes. Obviously, you're pulling your offensive lineman out to the side. Maybe just have 1 or 2 holding a block up front. And that creates that space for the defensive line to get back there. And if you're not quick with your screen pass, they can get to the quarterback pretty fast. And that creates a problem if you're not getting that ball out quickly.
Nice run there by Ezra Elkins as he slipped 1 tackle, gets the first down, and keeps the drive alive for the Noble Bears. Noble on the season 4-1. Their only loss came to Piedmont. Piedmont, of course, ranked number 2 right now. They beat Carl Albert and ended their 40-game win streak a couple weeks back. Quarterback draw, good read, good block up front. Looked like he tripped over the 30-yard line. Falls forward to about the 25. And the Bears are on the march.
Yeah, but you're already seeing early on the dual threat quarterback that it is. I mean, they've already down near their own end zone. Let him take a run up the middle. Obviously, it was stopped, and he got a face mask call and all that jazz. And then this one right here, a good run up the left side of the field, the weak side. And he's proving that he can not only throw the ball, but run it as well, and that makes it so much more complicated for a defense to figure out what's going on, because if you don't get pressure on that quarterback, he'll just sling the ball. But at the same time, if you put some pressure on him, he may be able to get out of there and escape and use his legs.
Picked up 3 on the play. Nice tackle by Tyler Reyes. Now fakes the handoff, rolls to his right. Intended receiver on the far side of the field is Trevor Lorenz. A little too tall for him, and that'll bring up third down.
You see the quarterback with the hand warmer. It's getting cold out there, Steve. It's starting to get down to about the 40s now.
And I'd wondered if maybe he hadn't banged it off a helmet or something, but I guess that's the reason for it. Yeah, it was a chilly day outside, no question about it, and quite windy. Looks right, now throws back left, has a receiver wide open, and he's going to get tripped up. Otherwise, he was going to get into the end zone. It's Ezra Elkins again, and what a great job by the quarterback to look off to the right side and then come back. Austin Fisher with a nice job, and now 1st and goal for the Bears.
And a touchdown-saving shoelace tackle from Cabe Dickerson. Just got a hand on that foot and kept Ezra Elkins from finding pay dirt. But right here, they're already in the red zone, already within that 5-yard line. We'll see if they can punch it in, and they do.
Fisher keeps it himself. Good blocking, good surge, and good drive blocking out front. And nobody from Altus really even getting close on the play. And the Bears are on the scoreboard first as you take a look at the replay.
Now, again, showing you his versatility. He can run it, he can pass it, either one. So that keeps this defense on their toes. They've got to read the quarterback just a little bit extra than usual. Maybe not so one-dimensional. And right there, some great blocking up front makes it easy for the quarterback to get in there. He's just got to squeak through that little window he's got in the corner of the end zone.
Extra point attempt on the way from Colby Dismuke. It's up and good. And with 4:54 left to go in a quick-moving first quarter of play, Noble Bears on the board first. They lead out to 7-0 our score on your Oklahoma Ford Dealers Game of the Week.
Drive a new Ford F-150 today with 0% financing for 72 months plus $1,000 bonus cash. Hurry into your Oklahoma Ford dealer.
Well, the Noble Bears get on the board first. Their very first possession after turning Altus back. They march right down the field, started the drive from their own 4-yard line. They go 96 yards. Austin Fisher with a 3-yard run to get into the end zone. The extra point is up and good. And with 4:52 left to go here in the first quarter, Noble on top early. They lead it 7-0. Kind of a punch kick, if you will. Taking it about the 25-yard line on the run there. Number 5 is Nick Sanchez. And he'll get it out across the 30-yard line, and the Bulldogs will set it up for their second possession. They moved the ball a couple of times, got a couple of first downs on that first possession, but again, had to punt it away, and they did very well with that as they pinned Noble back at their 4-yard line, but Noble just marched it right down the field with really not a lot of hesitation.
We've talked a lot about this Altus rushing attack, and Noble was very successful on the flip side of it, and they picked up a lot of yards on the ground, and even the touchdown was on the ground. So we're going to see a lot of this clock ticking away tonight because this running game is going to be all over the place for both teams.
Cabe Dickerson again with a 3 or 4 yard gain on that play. You can always tell from the ground level camera, get a good idea of how big or not as big one team is, and it would certainly appear from that little shot right there, Dylan, that obviously got some big boys up on that defensive front for the Noble Bears.
Well, not only that, but I was looking at 53 for the offensive line of Altus. He looks like he's a pretty built fella, so I wouldn't want to go up against him. I know that. But one thing that we always talk about it, is the bigger schools have these bigger kids, and it's always funny going from a jump from something like 3A ball to going up to 5 or 6A, and then seeing the size difference from week to week.
Looked like a busted play on that one, and that's going to bring up a 3rd down and 6, maybe even longer than that. 3rd and 8 is going to be the call now for the Bulldogs. As the quarterback, Derek Beach, turned, and he didn't have his running back where he expected him to be, had to eat the ball himself. And the clock continues to run as we go under 3.5 minutes left to go in this first quarter. Noble on top, 7-0. Let's look at the quarterback, Derek Beach, 6 of 10 on the year, 209 yards. So he's got a pretty good yard per completion percentage. Here's a little option look. Loose football. That's going to be picked up by Noble. Inside the 15, down to the 10, and into the end zone for the touchdown. Number 19 for the Noble Bears, that's Gavin Yeager, picked up the fumble, and he took it into the end zone for the touchdown.
Yeah, the old scoop and score. Pick it up and run with it. He could have just laid on top of that one, let the offense do the work, but he says, you know what? I got this one, guys. You guys can sit this one out. He picks it up. He takes off from about, what, maybe the 25, 35-yard line? 35 it was. Stiff arms the quarterback. First of all, the quarterback probably shouldn't be going for the tackle. He's not the strongest tackler anyway. Make that stiff arm, get into the end zone, 6 points on the board. And one thing I was going to mention a little earlier on in the game, and I didn't get the chance to actually, was they have 7 fumbles as a team, Altus Bulldogs, 7 fumbles as a team through 5 games already, and now that makes it number 8 through 6 games.
But when you only throw 10 passes, you don't throw many interceptions.
Absolutely, yeah. But I was just pointing out the fact that they've got to keep secured of that ball.
So a penalty on the extra point attempt, so they'll get scooted back a little bit. Right now the score stands at 13-0. So a quick turn of events after the touchdown. Couple plays from scrimmage by Altus, and then as Dylan said, a scoop and score 6-pointer. Now on for the extra point is Dismuke. Snap back, ball down, kick is up, and it is good. So we didn't get much time off the clock there. Still just over 3 minutes left to play in this first quarter, and the Noble Bears have gone on top. They lead it by a score of 14-0 in your Oklahoma Ford Dealers Game of the Week.
For my football team is we dress up, shirt and tie. I had a tie, but I didn't know how to tie it. Usually I would have my dad help me, but he was deployed. I'm thinking, don't worry about it. My grandma should know.
He says, can you tie a tie? And I'm like, no. But we're on our way to Chick-fil-A.
I recognize them because they came into our store so much. Miss Bertha and Mr. Terrence, I'm like, of course, I'll help them out and show them how to tie a tie.
It wasn't just the tie, it's what was in your heart.
It's my pleasure. Doing good, man. You got it.
Welcome back, everybody. We are at Noble, and the Noble Bears have jumped out on top with a scoop and score touchdown. And taking it in was Mr. Yeager. Earlier before that, the quarterback Fisher got in on a 3-yard touchdown run. And 14-0 is our score with Noble on top of Altus. Here's the kickoff, and the return is going to get out to about the 34-yard line. On the return there by Nick Sanchez, and the Bulldogs will set it up 1st and 10.
I think there's a flag on the play. We'll see if it stays where it is or not.
Man, there it is.
White Hat has something to say about it.
And his is usually the final say. Didn't see it during the run back. But they'll get assessed the penalty, and then we'll get the ball and get ready to go on their 3rd drive. They moved it the first time they had the ball, got a couple of first downs, but were forced to punt. And then just, 2 or 3 plays from scrimmage before the fumble and the scoop and score touchdown to make it now 14-0.
And this Altus offense is averaging 30.6 points per game on the season. So looking at it on paper, you may think, well, they should be able to put up some points tonight against the Noble defense. But again, last week, put up 0 against Ardmore. Got skunked in that game. And we'll see if maybe it's, like I said, a trend that's going to happen for this Altus offense, or if they can get back into high gear and put some points on the board tonight.
For Altus on the season, they opened the year losing to Cache 23-20. They beat their old rival Vernon, Texas, 35-20. Take me back some 33 years. That was the very first game that I ever called for the Altus Bulldogs. They then defeated Elk City 42-14 and then beat Southeast 56-6. And they were 3-1 in the season before falling last week to Ardmore by a final score of 28-0. Running play up the middle. Going to get it out to the 25-yard line, and that'll bring up 3rd and 5.
And while we're talking scores, last year, Noble actually lost this game 34-7. Altus came out on top, but that was also a very down year for Noble. Only had 4 wins on the season, and now up to this point in this season, already have matched that total with 4 wins this year. It was kind of an odd out of the blue type of thing, because it was 10-3 in 2017 and 8-3 in 2016, and then for last year the team to go 4-6, kind of an outlier.
3rd and 5 for the Bulldogs. From their own 25-yard line is Beach. Turns, option, pitch, gets rid of it, and a good job. Brought down, tripped up before he could get very far, and now a flag comes out after the play. And I'm not real sure about what that is. The Noble player was looking as though, what me? What did I do? Here comes the call from our official tonight. Personal foul. Going to call helmet to helmet on the situation is the apparent call. And that'll be an automatic first down for Altus.
I didn't quite see the helmet-to-helmet contact, but obviously the referee did. And so that gives Altus a little bit of a plus. See if they'll maybe use this as some momentum to get down the field. We've mentioned a couple times they've gotten some first downs. They've been successful on spotty plays, but then at the same time they'll run one every now and then that'll drop them back a few yards. And when that drop back happens, it seems like Noble's defense kind of takes over the possession.
Option play to the outside to the left. Nice running room. First down yardage on the carry for Altus. That's Trey Garcia. And he gets across the midfield stripe, gets the first down. They're going to spot it at the Noble 42-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Bulldogs. Using more of that pitch play now. Altus won the state championship back in 2015. They had an outstanding running back who is right now lighting the collegiate football world on fire. Taven Burdo is a running back for Air Force. And he has had some very big games for them here recently, and he had an unbelievable season when Altus won it all back in 2015. Quarterback pulls it from the running back, keeps it himself, will get about 2 yards on the carry.
Man, I told you earlier that running game runs that clock down. Look at the clock tick away down at the bottom of your screen there. We're already under a minute, and that's been fast for a first quarter of football.
Yeah, considering 2 scores were in there.
Yeah.
And they don't look as though they're in any hurry right now. They just as soon keep the Noble offense off the field. And they're going to take a walk to the sidelines, and that's going to do it for our first quarter of play. Well, they're going to stop the clock, it looks like. They're moving the chains, however. But we'll take a timeout as well. 14-0, Noble on top of Altus. We'll return with second quarter action just around the corner.
Hold on to me. Don't let me go. Your first name is free. Last name is dumb.
Drive a new Ford Expedition today with 0% financing for 72 months plus 2,000 Ford credit bonus cash. Hurry into your Oklahoma Ford dealer.
Dumb.
Welcome back, everybody. Noble Stadium. Pretty good crowd on hand tonight supporting their Bears. Right now ranked number 4 in Class 5A. They have to like the way things are going, leading it by a score of 14-0. Bulldogs in Noble territory give up the middle as they give it to their big power back there, number 44. That's Lathan Patterson. And since early, we have not seen Dickerson, who got the majority of the carries early on.
Well, and it is kind of like a running back by committee. I think you kind of mentioned it earlier. A lot of guys who are over 200 yards. I kind of wrote down the guys who have the most carries. So Maishawn Wells has 30. This is all coming into this game. And Lathan Patterson, 31. DeMarco De La Paz, 23. And then Cade Dickerson, 60. So many different runners really get a lot of touches on this Altus offense. So it doesn't have to be just that one running back that you'll see get the majority of carries. It can really be a different guy every single time out there.
Running play up the middle, churning his legs. That's Maishawn Wells. You know, and really when you look at it, most times when you have an offense like this, your quarterback has a lot of carries as well. As it is, Derek Beach is only averaging 3 carries per game. So he's the architect. He's the guy that makes it go, but does not keep the ball a whole lot himself.
So he's averaging 3 carries a game and 2 passes a game. So he's got a huge impact on these games, doesn't he?
Yeah. New set of downs, 1st and 10 for the Bulldogs, trying to stay close with these Noble Bears. Beach, quick pitch to the right side. Running room. inside the 20-yard line, close to the first down yardage. And the Bulldogs seem to have something going offensively now.
I got to highlight the block from number 32, Morgan, on that one. He flattened the defender coming in trying to make the tackle, and that lead block created just a little bit more time for the running back to get more yardage there. And, man, that was a big block. And you see those sometimes if you're keeping your eyes away from the ball, you'll see those big blocks come out. And, man, it's always fun to see the defense come up and they think they've got the hit, and then all of a sudden they're just on their backside going, what happened?
A gain of 9 of the play will bring up 2nd and 1. Actually have a receiver out to the right side. Short side of the field. Give up the middle will be enough for the first down. Get them down to about the 16-yard line. Well, they'll bring it back now to about the 17. 1st and 10 for the Bulldogs. Just underway, second quarter. Noble have the advantage right now after 2 touchdowns, leading it by a score of 14-0.
Well, we've seen Altus move the ball. We know that they can get down the field on this Noble defense. It's just a matter of time before they find the end zone, I think. And right here could be the possession because the way they've been marching down the field has been very fluid, and it seems like they're kind of starting to get into the flow of the game, and they're figuring out this Noble defense.
Option pitch, little late on the play.
Right as I say that, right? As I say they're figuring out the defense, there goes the defense for a good play and a drop of 2 or 3 on that one. And we'll see if Altus can recover from it. But what I mentioned earlier was it seems like every time that Noble kind of brings that Altus offense back a few yards, they kind of win the possession from there. It seems like Altus kind of loses its luster after that, and they're like, well, now, first down marker's so far away.
Sometimes I have a hard problem understanding running to the short side of the field. I know you're supposed to get a man advantage because the defense isn't necessarily going to put an extra man over there. But there was not much room to run. Here's the quarterback keeper up the middle, going to get down to about the 10-yard line. And now let's see where it'll bring up for the Bulldogs. After a loss, then a nice gain on the play and a nice read by the quarterback, Beach.
And he's got some long legs, so he's got some long strides. 6'1", 180. Took the ball himself, tucked it in, took off down the field and got, maybe about 7, 8 yards out of it, 9 yards. They're saying 3rd and 3, so yeah, about 9 yards out of it. And now puts them to where they're about that 10-yard line. Only 3 yards to go for a fresh set of downs. You'd imagine they'll probably punch this one up the middle.
Run it right up the middle, and that'll be first down yardage. Fighting for the end zone, still going, still churning into the end zone. Did he make it? Looks like he did. Still no signal from the official. What about the line judge on the far side? Apparently so. He is into the end zone, and they're going to give him the touchdown on a good, hard, tough run and a great surge by that offensive line for Altus up the middle.
Yeah, that wasn't an individual touchdown. That was a team touchdown right there. He took it off up the middle and then probably got his momentum stopped about that 4 or 5 yard line, and then everybody just starts pushing, and they get it that extra 4 yards, that extra 5 yards or so. That oomph gets it in there, and that 6 points brings it to a closer game, and they are on the scoreboard for the first time in 2 weeks.
Victor Velasquez gets the extra point. Nice assist there, pushing the pile forward. Big number 53, Cale Gallagher, as they get into the end zone. And now it's a 14-7 ball game. Noble on top of the Altus Bulldogs on your Oklahoma Ford Dealers Game of the Week.
Ford Game of the Week is the best in Oklahoma, and it's live on your view, Cox Channel 3. Get your fall break off on the right foot with the Ford Game of the Week day-night doubleheader. Blocking and tackling will be on the menu when Claremore and Memorial meet at high noon on Thursday. Then at 7 p.m., Hale and Edison will tangle as 2 TPS teams hit the field in the nightcap. Watch Claremore and Memorial at noon. Hale and Edison at 7, live on your view, Cox Channel 3. Kickoff fall break with a Ford Game of the Week. Ford is the best in Oklahoma.
Welcome back, everybody. Altus Bulldogs with a nice drive, get into the end zone, cut the lead to 14-7, and they will kick it off from their own 40-yard line, of course, and now they'll call upon their defense to get them a stop. Quick moving first half of play, 7:47 left to go here before halftime.
Well, we knew it was going to be a fast football game tonight with the ground game this Altus team runs. And respectably, the Noble offense also is pretty good on the ground. We've seen them do a lot of more screen passes, though, so it's kind of a short pass play that kind of, in a way, is similar to a rushing play because you get the ball to the running back out in the flat and let him take it from there. But the clock's going to keep running as long as this ball keeps getting handed off. And right here, how about that waste of time, just sitting there dancing trying to find the hole, but now he found it, and he's going down the sideline. A big gain there on the return.
Good return all the way into Altus territory. They're finally going to say they got him down at about the 37. It looked like he was just retracing his steps and wasn't going to get anything out of it. But he turned the corner, turned on the jets, and was able to get downfield and into Altus territory.
I shouldn't have said waste of time. I should have said use of time because he was using it effectively. He was waiting patiently on the right hole to pop up to him, and he said, all right, well, I'll take this one. He goes out to the outside and picks up a big gain on the return.
Low snap, quick throw to the far left side of the field. And we got a false start going to be called against Noble.
Yeah, it looked like the big tackle there on the end of the play moved just a little bit too early. Maybe it was that tight end there, number 84 or 64 for the offense, Brody Sturgis. Just jumped a little bit early, and that'll bring the offense back 5 yards, but we've seen this Noble offense be successful. Can't imagine it'll backtrack them too much.
1st and 15 for the Bears. Low snap. Dangerous pitch there in the middle of the offensive line, but it's able to pick up some good yardage. Don't see it pitched that way very often.
Well, no, and the only thing I was thinking was that was his offhand. He threw that with his left hand, and he's a right-hander. So that was dangerous in and of itself because of the defense there, but then on top of that, you do it with your offhand. You better hope he's ambidextrous.
It's kind of Mahomesian.
Exactly.
Quick pass, Fisher. Pass caught, first down yardage, and he gets hit. Big hit on the defensive side there for the Bulldogs, but not until a first down for the Noble Bears as they keep their drive alive.
I think those are some of my favorite hits in football. I don't think they get a lot of credit because it's always just another man comes in and does the help, but there's always one guy holding the legs and it kind of just stops the momentum, and then that second guy comes in and just plows through him. It's kind of a two-man effort. Those are some of my favorites, though.
Trying to bounce it to the outside, does so, breaks a tackle down the sideline, and they're going to say he stepped out at about the 17 or 18-yard line.
And it looked like he stepped out because he was putting that shoulder down into the defender, which is what you're supposed to do. So he was doing everything technically right. Puts that shoulder down, and he was going to go through the defense. And just in that process, it looked like the defender kind of whiffed on the tackle, and he lost his balance and ended up stepping out of bounds in the process.
Keeper up the middle, Fisher. Nice gain all the way inside the 5-yard line. And he has seen that and read it well again, as everybody went for the would-be ball carrier, but Fisher pulled it out, kept it himself, big hole up the middle, and all the way down to make it 1st and goal.
Yeah, big hole may be an understatement. That was a huge hole. It was like the parting of the Red Seas. He had enough room to get all the way up to about the 4 or 5-yard line, and now just a few feet away.
Fisher going to keep it, and he'll get in the end zone for the touchdown. The Bears make it look easy as they march methodically down the field and get into the end zone. The drive started with 7:47, so it only took 1:21 for the Bears to answer back and increase their lead once again.
Yeah, the second rushing touchdown on the evening for Mr. Fisher. An easy run up the left side and a great lead block from Ezra Elkins, the running back, a guy you usually see putting those in the end zone. And right here, we're going to have a keeper.
Bad snap, it looked like. And the pass towards the end zone. And the pass will fall incomplete. So not able to convert. And we've got a clock stoppage now with just about 6:25 left to go here before the end of the first half. The Noble Bears regain their lead. They're back on top now, leading at 20-7 on your Oklahoma Ford Dealers Game of the Week.
Drive a new Ford F-150 today with 0% financing for 72 months plus $1,000 bonus cash. Hurry into your Oklahoma Ford dealer.
Welcome back, everybody. Noble Bears on top, leading it by a score of 20-7. 7. They came into the week ranked number 4 in Class 5A. McGinnis was 1, then Piedmont 2, Carl Albert 3, followed by Noble, then El Reno, Tahlequah, Collinsville, Tulsa Edison, Pryor, and Ardmore. Those are your top 10 in Class 5A football. When you looked at this district, Lawton Mac was the favorite, followed by Ardmore, then Duncan, then Altus, El Reno, and Noble were supposed to be fighting for that final spot, but Noble looks like they got themselves a pretty good football team. Kick returner drops the football. It's picked by his cohort. He's going down the sideline, only has one man to beat, spins, and he will get all the way into the end zone. Touchdown Bulldogs. Maishawn Wells. How about that?
Yeah, huge return from Maishawn Wells. I told you he's the speedy back in the backfield of this offense. But how about the kick return game as well? Fast runner. I'm telling you, it's going to be tough to catch Maishawn Wells, whether he's coming out of the backfield or whether he's coming all the way down the field with some momentum. Even trips up the kicker without even making a move. That's how fast he is. The spin move puts it on that defender, and then he finds the end zone right there. 6 points for Altus, and it's a quick 6 points. We're talking about a fast-paced game in the second quarter.
Well, the best part was the initial return, man. It seemed like it went right through his arms, and Wells was coming up on it and just scooped it out of the air and raced down the sidelines. Nobody was ready for that, I don't believe. And he's able to get it in for the touchdown. Extra point attempt is on the way, and it is good. Well, that didn't take long. 20-14. We got ourselves a ball game here with just about 6 minutes before halftime. We'll take another timeout. It's all brought to you by your Oklahoma Ford dealers, and we'll be back with the kickoff.
The right connection can open a world of curiosity for your child. With Cox, families that have a K-12 student and receive government assistance could qualify for low-cost home internet with Wi-Fi. That means more learning and more achieving. Qualify now. It's time to connect with Cox.
Well, it was a fast-moving game as far as the clock was concerned, and then a couple of touchdowns back to back to back. And now we've got ourselves a good ball game, 20-14, as Altus returns the kickoff for the touchdown to get back within 6. Here's Noble now on the return kick, trying to get to the outside, and what a great play on special teams. Coming up and making the hit, that's Tyson Vernon, senior tight end defensive lineman, and he made a nice open field tackle. Got a flag on the play, so we'll see what that's about. Thrown back there at about the 27-yard line. And the referee and the official, and they're going to say it's a legal hit against Noble. And again, I didn't see it.
Well, one thing I thought that was kind of funny was you mentioned when Noble had gotten that touchdown just a few minutes ago, you said, well, that was a fast touchdown, and you said it was just over a minute or something like that. And then right after that, Altus came out and got a touchdown in even less time than that. So maybe it's just kind of a anything you can do, I can do better type of thing here.
All right, so there's a look at the lines of scrimmage. The Bears jumped out to a 14-0 lead, then led it 20-7. Altus returns the kickoff to make it 20-14. Handoff in the backfield. Running play is going to get about 3-4 yards perhaps on the carry. You throw number 75 and 77 right next to each other, and that's some pretty good defensive tackles. They play more of a 3-4 scheme on defense. There's a quick shot to the outside, and good play by the defensive back as he is right there, and he's going to drop him in his tracks for a loss on the play. Pass was complete as they hooked up with Trevor Lorenz, but a good read by the cornerback. I didn't catch the number.
That was actually number 13, Derek Beach, the quarterback, and it seemed like he was kind of walking off the field a little bit slowly. I don't know if maybe his hand got caught in there or something like that. It didn't look like it was anything leg-wise, but it was kind of a upper body injury. I don't know if it was something serious or not, but he's walking off to the sideline a little slowly.
Fisher is the quarterback looking at a 3rd down and 5 or 6 situation. Pass is complete. However, he retreats and then falls forward. They'll get it out to the 31-yard line.
And one thing I'm starting to notice is just the size of Austin Fisher. He's really undersized for a quarterback, especially at 5A football. He's only 5'8", 150. That's something that you may see a lot more often in 3A, 4A. Once you get up to 5A, 6A, you're talking about quarterbacks usually who are that average size of a quarterback, that 6 foot, 200-pound quarterback.
He's slippery as well, and he's going to get enough for the first down as he reversed his field. Good effort, good wheels, and he's going to get just enough to keep the drive alive and move the chains.
Yeah, great run there. You talked about reversing field. He went up to that right side and said, I guess nothing's there. I'm going to go out to the left side, and there's plenty of room over there. Finds 10 yards on the run and a first down for Noble.
Official timeout on the field. Looks like they're having problems moving the chain. So they're going to have to fix the chain, it looks like. We'll take a timeout, come back with more for you. Stay with us.
Hold on to me. Don't let me go. Your first name is free. Last name is dumb.
Drive a new Ford Expedition today with 0% financing for 72 months plus 2000 Ford credit bonus cash. Hurry into your Oklahoma Ford dealer.
Welcome back, everybody. They were able to take care of the chain situation and get it fixed right away. Either that or they had 2 chains.
That was a joke I didn't expect from you, Steve. I'll tell you that much.
Here's a running play as the quarterback Fisher going to keep it himself and takes a hard hit along the sidelines. We have a joke, me and my TV partner. He doesn't remember the old days, and I know Mark Jeffries will, when the Dallas Cowboys used to take photographs from the press box and then slide them down a clothesline to the sidelines where they would have still pictures. That was before all the high-grade technology, and he refuses to believe that was even a possibility. But I said, yeah, the 60s and the 70s it sure was.
I don't remember it, but I've heard about it. I've read about it. That's an interesting way of getting your point across to the sideline. And
I Googled it and tried to find it, and I could never find it.
Yeah, I can't imagine like being at a game or even being on the field and just seeing that go over your head.
Right. So 1st and 10 for the Bears, just inside Altus territory. Fisher again going to keep it. Loose football came out, and it's recovered by the Bulldogs. Number 35 coming away with the football. That is Slade Rencher, 6 foot, 220-pound linebacker. You can just barely see that ball come out there, Dylan.
Yeah, we have our second fumble of the night, this time for the Noble Bears. A run up to the left side by the quarterback, and it looked like the right hand, or left hand, I guess it would be, of number 29 there for the Bulldogs, Hunter Webb. Just poked that ball loose just enough that on that spin move for Fisher, he ended up losing the ball, and that ended up popping it loose, and Bulldogs recover.
Plenty of time left to go. They'll get the ball at their own 49-yard line, trailing just over 3 minutes left to go here before halftime. Handoff, that's Dickerson straight ahead. Big number 37. Had a lot of the carries early in the contest, had not carried the ball in a while. But he is the leading rusher on the team, 433 yards, averages 7.2 per carry. Patterson averages 8.2. Wells averages 6.7. No wonder they don't throw it.
They're having success on the ground, aren't they? Makes it a little bit easier whenever your ground game is working, but usually that kind of is okay, my ground game works, let me use the passing game now. But they just stick to that run game. It works. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
2nd and 7 straight ahead. Oh, I'm sorry, faked me out. Loose football, he's running down the far side. That is Garcia. And that totally faked me out. I missed it.
It wasn't just you. The cameraman was ready for it to just go straight up the middle too, but then there it goes up to the top of the screen. You could see it just out of the corner of your eye if you were paying attention to the side of the screen. But a good run up to that right side and a first down gain out of it. So not only did it fake you, not only did it fake our cameraman, but obviously it faked the defense.
But it didn't get you.
I saw it. I
Okay.
saw it. I saw the ball going up the sideline.
Okay. I watched the ball, you watched the periphery.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Under 2 minutes to go here. Altus trying to get on the board to either tie it up or possibly take the lead. Pitch to the near side. Defense is all over that one. They're going to drop Mr. Wells for a loss in the play. Clock will continue to run.
And he's that speed back, as I've mentioned a couple of times, so being able to catch up to him is not an easy task, and that was number 19 on the tackle there, Gavin Yeager, who was able to get a couple of hands on him and start to slow his momentum, and that was enough to bring him down. 2nd and 13 for the Bulldogs here, and we've seen him come back from a couple of long first down marker to the line of scrimmage distances, and at the same time we've seen that kind of dispel their possession as well, so it's been very 50-50 for them on whether it is something they can recover from or not.
Derek Beach is the quarterback. He's under center, as he has been all night. Give straight ahead, and again the ball carrier there is number 44. That's Patterson. But now the clock becomes a friend or an ally of Noble. And it looks like the Bulldogs are going to have to take a timeout here with, just around 50 seconds left to go before halftime. A 20-14 lead for Noble. We're in the final minute of play in this first half. We'll be back.
Saturday night and I just got paid. My heart said go, go. Have a time called Saturday night. Now I'm feeling fine. I'm gonna rock it up. I'm gonna rip it up. I'm gonna shake it out. Gonna ball it up. I'm gonna rock it up and ball tonight.
Drive the new Ford Ranger today with 0% financing for 60 months plus $2,500 total savings. Hurry into your Oklahoma Ford dealer.
Welcome back, everybody. Noble Stadium. Good football game to this point, and it may get even more interesting here in this final, what is now minute 5 left to go. It's your Oklahoma Ford Dealers game of the week. Altus Bulldogs on the road at the Noble Bears.
This is one of my favorite stadiums. We called the Bears games,
Yeah.
a couple of them last year, and both times I was really impressed by the facilities they have here. It's
Very
a
nice
really nice
facilities.
looking stadium.
Beach, the quarterback. Pitch to the outside. Lots of running room. And out of bounds, finally pushed. They're going to spot him right at the 15-yard line. And on the carry once again, it's Myshawn Wills, who's had a pretty good night.
And that time faced with a 3rd and 10, so it wasn't going to be an easy first down, that's for sure. And yet they were still able to get there, and it seemed like the play was about to be tackled in the back. The ball was going to go down way back around the line of scrimmage, maybe even behind it. And then somehow the ball pops out and gets to Myshawn Wells, and there he goes up that right side on that strong side where there was a lot of running room. It seemed like there wasn't really anybody over there, and that's where you mentioned, maybe not going to that short side of the field, that time going out to the wider, more open side, and picks up a first down out of it.
Beach trying to option it, and that's a great defensive play coming up and making the play for Noble. That's 19, Gavin Yeager. He's made a couple of nice plays tonight.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. He's made a couple of big plays and a couple of really nice open field tackles.
Timeout on the field. We'll keep it right here. And, of course, we'll remind you we've got some score updates coming your way. We'll take a look at the highlights as well as Dylan goes to his Squirtle app to see if we have any updates on any of the games that are going on this week. And, of course, we've always got plenty of good ball games that are going on. That number 1 game of the week was Bethany and Tuttle. Number 8, Millwood in Class 2A was taking on number 2, Washington. That was a game to watch. Number 7, Tulsa Union, who lost last week at Mustang, or maybe that was actually at Union. They play Putnam North this week, and the Panthers are a bit of a surprise, as they are 5-0 on the season right now, ranked number 4. And in Class 5A, El Reno, who lost to Noble last week, 72-62 in that epic confrontation. They are playing number 10, Ardmore.
Yeah, I was trying to see if I could find the score on the Bethany-Tuttle game you were talking about, and right now what I'm seeing is 14-0 Bethany in the lead, but that was also 17 minutes ago, so a lot of things could have changed since then.
Dropping the throw, Beach looking for somebody. Now he's going to tuck it and run. He's got wheels. Beach is going to get out of bounds, and they're going to spot him at about the 13-yard line. You mentioned his speed a little while ago. Long, lanky runner.
Yeah, those long strides, covers a lot of ground really quickly, and right there picks up a good gain. And it seemed like the play had kind of broken down and he wasn't going to get much out of it, and then turns on the jets and he turns a corner, picks up some good yardage, and now a much shorter third down. I would imagine it's probably about a 7 or 8 yard distance till the first down marker, and if you can get there, then you got a fresh set of downs within that 5 yard line or so.
What the right now, looking at the ball inside the 15-yard line, as Beach wants to throw, had a guy over the middle, eats the football, but now the clock continues to run, and I know they've already used at least 2 of their timeouts. 4th down and 4 coming up now for Altus, and what do you want to call here, Coach?
Now, this is a tough one. I mean, it's if you trust your kicker, you're going to kick this one up. But if not, then obviously it's 4th and 4. You go ahead and run for it, and then maybe if you have a timeout left, I'm not sure how many they've used. We usually don't really kind of have a number on which side is actually using the timeout, but we'll see what happens. This time is ticking away right now.
Looks like they're going to let it go all the way down and then call the timeout and then try for the field goal, as they stop it with just about 3 seconds left to go here. That is their final timeout, and unless there's a penalty, will be the final play of the first half. Well, in that previous play, it looked like the wide receiver was wide open over the middle. Beach apparently didn't see him soon enough, couldn't get rid of the football, chose to keep it himself, and then was tackled on the play.
Well, that, or, maybe it's something much deeper than that, and I hope it's certainly not, is, hopefully he trusts his arm enough. It may be one of those situations where you see the receiver and you think, well, I don't know if I can get it in there. And he probably did have enough time and enough space to get that ball in there, but second guesses himself and doesn't get it up, and as a result has to tuck that one and loses a couple of yards, and now left with just a field goal opportunity and 3 seconds on the clock.
They'll spot it at the 22-yard line. So a 32-yard field goal attempt for Altus. In for the field goal, the try, and we've got a whistle first that comes out.
I thought it was another fake type of thing here going on, because Noble had that one PAT that ended up being kind of a quarterback keeper and turned into a little bit of a fake play, and so I thought maybe this was going to be one for Altus, and maybe they were going to keep it and try to do something fancy.
So 4th and 5, the kicker for the Bulldogs is Victor Velasquez. He's shown that he has more than ample leg. They're going to kneel down and spot it right at the 17, so now a 27-yard field goal attempt to try and make it a 3-point ball game. Snap back. Kick is away. Looks good on the way, and it is true. So the Bulldogs get the field goal on the final possession of the first half, as the two teams look as though they're going to head to the locker room. That'll do it for first half play, and a good one. Noble jumped out to a 20-7 lead early, but Altus battled back. They get the field goal, and now it's a 3-point ball game as we head to halftime. We've got highlights, we'll check scores for you, and much more right here on your Oklahoma Ford Dealers Game of the Week. Stay with us.
Drive a new Ford F-150 today with 0% financing for 72 months plus $1,000 bonus cash. Hurry into your Oklahoma Ford dealer.
Our tradition for my football team is we dress up, shirt and tie. I had a tie, but I didn't know how to tie it. Usually I would have my dad help me, but he was deployed. I'm thinking, don't worry about it. My grandma should know.
He says, can you tie a tie? And I'm like, no. But we're on our way to Chick-fil-A.
I recognize them because they came into our store so much. Miss Bertha and Mr. Terrence, I'm like, of course, I'll help them out and show them how to tie a tie.
It wasn't just the tie, it's what was in your heart.
It's my pleasure. Doing good, man. You got it.
The The Ford Game of the Week is the best in Oklahoma, and it's live on your view, Cox Channel 3. Get your fall break off on the right foot with the Ford Game of the Week day-night doubleheader. Blocking and tackling will be on the menu when Claremore and Memorial meet at high noon on Thursday. Then at 7 p.m., Hale and Edison will tangle as two TPS teams hit the field in the nightcap. Watch Claremore and Memorial at noon. Hale and Edison at 7, live on your view, Cox Channel 3. Kickoff fall break with a Ford Game of the Week. Ford is the best in Oklahoma.
Hold on to me. Don't let me go. Your first name is free. Last name is dumb.
Drive a new Ford Expedition today with 0% financing for 72 months plus 2,000 Ford credit bonus cash. Hurry into your Oklahoma Ford dealer.
Dumb.
The right connection can open a world of curiosity for your child. With Cox, families that have a K-12 student and receive government assistance could qualify for low-cost home internet with Wi-Fi. That means more learning and more achieving. Qualify now. It's time to connect with Cox.
Welcome back, everybody. It is homecoming tonight at Noble. Welcome back to Noble Stadium. Steve Marshall, Dylan Rivera, and the entire crew from Your View out here tonight. We've got a good football game. 20-17, the Noble Bears on top of the Altus Bulldogs at the intermission. Let's go ahead and take a look at the highlights in that first half of play and very first possession for the Noble Bears, and they get on the board first. You're going to watch the quarterback, Austin Fisher, get in the end zone.
Yeah, and after the game he had last week, you can expect that that's probably going to be a little bit of a continuation tonight. And right there, just squeezes into the end zone. And a early 6 points for the Noble Bears. And he's going to be a problem all night long for that defense, especially on the ground, as we've seen him score not one, but we'll see here in a second. He scores a second one later.
Yeah, we get the scoop and score coming up next. The Noble fumble recovery coming up right here.
Yeah, just got that helmet to the ball, and that's something that's not really something you can predict. And a lot of times the running back coaches will say, you need to carry it real tight, and you got to have a strong grip on it. But when a steel helmet's coming up and hitting it, there's not really much you can do about it. So the helmet to the ball contact knocks it loose, and then the scoop and score for Gavin Yeager, who had a great first half.
Then Altus is able to cut into that lead, make it a 14-7 ball game. Yeah,
run up the gut, and then he probably got stopped about that 4-yard line, and you can just see the whole team start getting that push in there, see if they can punch it into the end zone, and they do. And 6 points on the board for Altus, and that one was just the start of it for the Bulldogs.
That made it 14-7, but Noble would get another touchdown. They would go on top 20-7 as you watch the replay here.
Yeah, another run for Fisher on this one, and this one goes to the left side, and a great block by Elkins up in front of him, a great lead block, and then that cut back towards the middle puts another 6 points on the board and another rushing touchdown under Fisher's name.
Didn't take long for the Bulldogs to answer, as on the ensuing kickoff, this is what happened for the Altus Bulldogs to keep them right in the game and to keep the score close.
Yeah, and what you don't see right before this is that the ball originally went to a different return man, and it kind of just went through his hands. He just dropped it. And then out of nowhere, you see Wells come flying into the screen, pick up the ball, and he says, well, I guess if you want something done right, you're going to do it yourself. So he takes that ball down the sideline, and he just steamrolls past the kickoff team, and 6 points again on the board.
And then Altus with the final drive of that first half. They couldn't get the touchdown they were looking for, but they kept it close as they got the field goal.
Yeah, it ended up being a long third down, or second down, I guess it would have been, and then fourth down ended up being about a 4th and 5, 4th and 4. And as that time ticked away, it was, well, do I want to take that risk of getting that 4 or 5 yards and then a new set of downs, then timeout and go for the end zone, all of that, or do I just want to guarantee myself 3 points at half? And they said, you know what, it's smarter to get those 3 points.
All right, so we got a good one. Halftime here, and Noble leading it on homecoming night here. They're on top of the Bulldogs by a score of 20-17. We'll take a timeout and come back, continue our coverage. Stay with us.
Waving your banner on. We will
Drive a new Ford F-150 today with 0% financing for 72 months plus $1,000 bonus cash. Hurry into your Oklahoma Ford dealer.
Our tradition for my football team is we dress up, shirt and tie. I had a tie, but I didn't know how to tie it. Usually I would have my dad help me, but he was deployed. I'm thinking, don't worry about it. My grandma should know.
He says, can you tie a tie? And I'm like, no. But we're on our way to Chick-fil-A.
I recognize them because they came into our store so much. Miss Bertha and Mr. Terrence, I'm like, of course, I'll help them out and show them how to tie a tie.
It wasn't just the tie, it's what was in your heart.
It's my pleasure. Doing good, man. You got it.
Drive a new Ford F-150 today with 0% financing for 72 months plus $1,000 bonus cash. Hurry into your Oklahoma Ford dealer.
The Ford Game of the Week is the best in Oklahoma, and it's live on your view, Cox Channel 3. Get your fall break off on the right foot with the Ford Game of the Week day-night doubleheader. Blocking and tackling will be on the menu when Claremore and Memorial meet at high noon on Thursday. Then at 7 p.m., Hale and Edison will tangle as two TPS teams hit the field in the nightcap. Watch Claremore and Memorial at noon. Hale and Edison at 7, live on your view, Cox Channel 3. Kickoff fall break with a Ford Game of the Week. Ford is the best in Oklahoma.
Welcome back to Noble Stadium. Once again, everybody, we're at halftime. Good football game here. Class 5A, the number 4 ranked Noble Bears on top of the Altus Bulldogs. It's a good ball game, though. 20-17 is our halftime score. And as we look at some of the other scores from around the state, Mr. Dylan Rivera takes care of that for us.
We talk about good ball games. You know, Bethany and Tuttle is the matchup to watch this week. And right now, Bethany leads 14-0 at half. So that one is still a ball game right now. 2 quarters of play to go. So you'll have to keep your eyes on that one. And then Tahlequah Collinsville, 4th and 5th ranked, I believe that's by Squirtle, is 14-7 right now. That one's about halfway through the 3rd quarter. And if my Squirtle app will work with me, I'll give you a couple more. I saw Del City it was an interesting score for that game. See if I can find that one again. It seemed like it was one that I thought would be a little bit more Del City's way, and it wasn't quite as it seemed like it should have been. It's just not going to work with me tonight. There it is. Del City and Deer Creek is the game. Deer Creek is 3-2, Del City 4-1, and that score is 15-15 in the 3rd quarter.
Good matchup there. So, again, we've reached the halfway point of the season. We're into week 2 of district play. So all these games mean a lot more as we get ready to head down the stretch. And, well, the weather this week certainly seemed like we were later in the season after, having 80-degree, 90-degree days and evenings. All of a sudden, it certainly did turn into fall and almost early winter type situations here. But we got a good football game. We'll take a timeout. Noble on top of Altus. 20-17 is our score, and your Oklahoma Ford dealers game of the week.
Hold on to me. Don't let me go. Your first name is free.
Drive a new Ford Expedition today with 0% financing for 72 months plus $2,000 Ford credit bonus cash. Hurry into your Oklahoma Ford dealer.
The right connection can open a world of curiosity for your child. With Cox, families that have a K-12 student and receive government assistance could qualify for low-cost home internet with Wi-Fi. That means more learning and more achieving. Qualify now. It's time to connect with Cox.
Well, it's Saturday night and I just got paid. My heart said go, go. Have time 'cause it's Saturday night. Now I'm feeling fine. I'm gonna rock it up. I'm gonna rip it up. I'm gonna shake it out. Gonna ball it up. I'm gonna rock it tonight.
Drive the new Ford Ranger today with 0% financing for 60 months plus $2,500 total savings. Hurry into your Oklahoma Ford dealer.
The Ford Game of the Week is the best in Oklahoma, and it's live on your view, Cox Channel 3. Get your fall break off on the right foot with the Ford Game of the Week day-night doubleheader. Blocking and tackling will be on the menu when Claremore and Memorial meet at high noon on Thursday. Then at 7 p.m., Hale and Edison will tangle as two TPS teams hit the field in the nightcap. Watch Claremore and Memorial at noon. Hale and Edison at 7, live on your view, Cox Channel 3. Kickoff fall break with a Ford Game of the Week. Ford is the best in Oklahoma.
All right, our contestant for punt, pass, and kick today is Caitlin Myers. All right, we're going for a 30-yard field goal attempt for 50 bucks. It's no good. Let's give it up for Kate Myers. Good job. All right, folks, if you have not participated in the 50-50 for the local soccer team, you're going to miss out on $440 so far. So please make sure for the next quarter you're putting up a ticket for 10 bucks to get the prize, 20 bucks to get the and 40 bucks to get the $75 prize.
Ford F-150 today with 0% financing for 72 months plus $1,000 bonus cash. Hurry into your Oklahoma Ford dealer.
The Ford Game of the Week is the best in Oklahoma, and it's live on your view, Cox Channel 3. Get your fall break off on the right foot with the Ford Game of the Week day-night doubleheader. Blocking and tackling will be on the menu when Claremore and Memorial meet at high noon on Thursday. Then at 7 p.m., Hale and Edison will tangle as two TPS teams hit the field in the nightcap. Watch Claremore and Memorial at noon. Hale and Edison at 7, live on your view, Cox Channel 3. Kickoff fall break with a Ford Game of the Week. Ford is the best in Oklahoma.
Our tradition for my football team is we dress up, shirt and tie. I had a tie, but I didn't know how to tie it. Usually I would have my dad help me, but he was deployed. I'm thinking, don't worry about it. My grandma should know.
He says, can you tie a tie? And I'm like, no. But we're on our way to Chick-fil-A.
I recognize them because they came into our store so much. Miss Bertha and Mr. Terrence, I'm like, of course, I'll help them out and show them how to tie a tie.
It wasn't just the tie, it's what was in your heart.
It's my pleasure. Doing good, man. You got it.
Hold on to me. Don't let me go. Your first name is free. Last name is dumb.
Drive a new Ford Expedition today with 0% financing for 72 months plus $2,000 Ford credit bonus cash. Hurry into your Oklahoma Ford dealer.
Dumb.
Welcome back, everybody. It's your Oklahoma Ford Dealers Game of the Week. Tonight, the Noble Bears leading the Altus Bulldogs at the halftime intermission. 20-17 is our score, and got to recognize everybody who's made all this possible. Of course, Tanner Wade and Brad Shelton, Riley Cowan, also Dylan Rivera, and Mark Jeffries, as we get all the particulars taken care of as they are getting ready for second half action. Noble leading at 20-17 after leading at one point. They led 14-0. They led 20-7, but the Bulldogs have hung in there. Just when it looked like maybe they were going to get, not run out, but it looked like Noble was definitely taking control of the game. The Bulldogs have dug deep and gotten back in this thing.
Well, and I was telling you, I expected Altus to at least put up a ball game. I didn't think it was going to be a blowout by any means. But I did think that Noble would probably come out ahead on this one, and I did expect more offense for sure from Noble. Noble right now in 5A is third in points per game with 41. That's behind Duncan and Bishop McGinnis. And so putting up 41 points per game, I was thinking, well, Noble's going to come in here and probably score on this Altus Bulldogs defense pretty quickly and pretty often. And to this point, only 20 points at halftime. Obviously, that's kind of on pace for their average, but still, I was expecting a little bit more in that first half.
So 20-17 is the score. You can see the Bulldogs have made their way back onto the field. Noble Bears either are already on. Here they come now, as we are live at Noble Stadium. And again, as we take a look at the district rankings coming into this season, this district here, 5A1, Lawton MacArthur was the favorite, then Ardmore, Duncan third, and then you had Altus, El Reno, and Noble. So really it was a 6-team race, as though the way that they saw it before the season started. Western Heights and Southeast were never going to contend for those playoff spots, but only 4 teams make it in. It's still a 6-team race, and should be interesting down the stretch as we take a look at Altus and their schedule. After Noble tonight, they will play at Lawton MacArthur. Then they get Western Heights at home. They play at El Reno, and then they will play at home against Duncan. For the Noble Bears, as we look at their schedule the rest of the way, after tonight, they're at Western Heights. They get Lawton MacArthur. They play at Ardmore, and they play Southeast. So 2 tough games, 2 easy games for Noble, and pretty much the same way for the Altus Bulldogs. We're all set to go. Second half, the Bulldogs will kick off to the Bears. Hope you enjoy the second half of your Oklahoma Ford Dealers Game of the Week. Velasquez to kick it away. High short kick, going to be taken at about the 22-yard line. Trying to get outside. Is able to get it to about the 35-yard line. And that's where the Bears will put it in play, 1st and 10, leading it by a score of 20-17.
And the story of the game for the Noble Bears offense has been Austin Fisher, the quarterback, who has been picking up a lot of yards on the ground and has completed a handful of passes, not too many, but when they do go to the air, he has been successful. So this defense probably going to come out in the second half and hopefully try to have an answer for him and see if they can stop this Bears offense from getting back on the board.
Jet sweep and a nice open field tackle there by Trey Garcia. Going to drop him behind the line of scrimmage. Did a real good job not allowing any cutback lanes there, and a loss on the play for the Bears on the first play from scrimmage. You mentioned we expected a lot of points, especially from Noble, who put up 72 last week, but you knew that Altus was going to put up some points. Oh, man, had a receiver wide open. Looked like he was going to pass, then it looked like he was going to run, then he stopped and found a receiver and trying to hook up there with Ezra Elkins, and Elkins just couldn't hang on.
No, that's the old RPO that they talk about nowadays, isn't it? Where you got those options of whether you can do one or the other. I guess that one was really more of a PRO because it was a pass-run, pass option, so PRPO maybe. I'm confusing myself.
3rd down and 11 for the Bears. First possession of this second half. Screen pass in the middle of the field. Pass is caught. Don't think he's going to get enough for the first down. The reception made there by Elkins. And that's going to bring up a 4th down, and it looks like about 3. See how the Bears want to play it. They put a man in punt formation. And he gives it a ride. Good boot. Far downfield. Takes a Noble bounce. Look at this thing roll. All the way inside the 5. Wow. And that's going to stop at about the 2-yard line.
Now, we've seen great punts from both teams tonight. Even Altus had one in the first half, and now Noble. You're seeing how useful those punts can be. You know, a lot of times people don't give enough love to the punter, but when he does his job right, you know it.
Of course, if you remember, Altus had a kick like that, but Noble took it down the field 96 yards and took it in for a touchdown. Not saying that Altus will necessarily do that, but we saw Noble do it, so why not the Bulldogs?
It is a possibility, is what we were saying.
That is right. Anything is possible in the world of football when the ball is shaped that way. You just never know how it's going to bounce. 1st and 10 Bulldogs deep inside their own territory. And they'll give it to their big guy up front. That's Dickerson, and he has nowhere to go.
I think that's the quickest I've ever seen a tackle happen. It was like the snap happened, and the next thing I knew, it was a bunch of guys that were going down to the ground. I couldn't even see the handoff. I didn't even see who really ran up the middle, anything. It was just a mesh of people all of a sudden, and it was a yard or two maybe out of it. And so the very short first down play is going to keep them with their back against the wall here, and we'll see if Altus can find something to get out of this hole that they're in right now.
No gain on the play. 2nd down and 10 from their own 2. Beach, the quarterback. Quick hitter up the middle once again. And they'll get it out across the 5 to maybe the 7, maybe the 6-yard line. Not much of a gain there, and that's going to bring up 3rd and long.
But what that does do is get you a shorter 3rd down play, and on top of that, build yourself a little bit more space between you and that end zone and that safety possibility, so now you can open up that playbook if you're any team other than Altus, but they're probably just going to hand off the ball again.
More than likely. Should have kept track on how many passes they've thrown. They have thrown a few, but not very many. Came in throwing 10 passes the entire season. Derek Beach was 6 of 10 coming into the contest. 3rd and 6. Quick handoff again up the middle. He's going to get to about the 9-yard line, maybe the 10 at the most, but not going to be enough for a first down, and that'll bring up 4th and 2.
Yeah, it looks like the offense is going to go to the sideline, and they'll punt this one away, which is probably a good decision because if you don't make it to that first down marker here, you're giving them excellent field position to start the second possession for the Noble Bears.
Dropping back to punt for the Bulldogs midway through his own end zone. Snap is back there in time. Noble retreats to try to set up the return. Again, the kick is going to roll out at about the Altus 41-yard line. So a short field to work with for the Noble Bears on their second possession. After the great punt pinned Altus back deep in their own territory. We've already played 3.5 minutes here in this third quarter. 3-point ball game. Noble on top, leading at 20-17. Quarterback is Austin Fisher. Low snap. Give the ball to Elkins, who gets to the outside. Elkins, there's a flag on the play. And where that was thrown is probably going to be some type of illegal block, I would guess. He did get enough for the first down yardage, but a good feeling this one's coming back.
Yeah, a good run, and it's going to be brought back, I would imagine, just like you said. It was probably going to be a block down the field, and we'll see what the White Hat has to say about it. It is a hold, so yeah, it will be backtracking, but a great run by Elkins nonetheless, and he is a very successful runner, and this is what I was mentioning earlier on, was the ground game for Noble has been just as successful for them as Altus's run game has been for the Bulldogs. The running back Ezra Elkins and in combination with the quarterback Austin Fisher, their ground game is almost just as dangerous just because those two speedsters make it tough for this Bulldogs defense to figure out what exactly they're going to do.
Quick pass to the outside. Nice route run there by number 2, Trevor Lorenz. And that's going to be enough for a first down.
That's going to get them back into where they should have been is what it is, actually.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So it's going to be second and about maybe 5 or 6 now.
In Altus territory. Fisher gives to the running back. Lost the football. I believe it was already blown dead, though. And a loss on the play. Good pursuit by the Altus defense.
Number 36 got it in there on the tackle, and that was Nathan Wybera getting in there to make the hit. And we've seen a lot of good open field tackles is what it has been tonight. Both sides of the ball, these teams have done a great job wrapping up, and that's one thing that really irks me is when I see players not wrap up, and that one a great example of how you need to make an open field tackle.
Fisher over the middle, has a receiver all alone. Passes caught in the end zone unless there's a flag. That's going to be a touchdown for the Noble Bears as Fisher is able to hook up with Braden Fisher for the Noble Bear touchdown.
Yeah, Fisher to Fisher for that touchdown right there. Braden Fisher ends up getting that one, and we haven't seen a lot of big pass plays tonight, but that one was huge as he's got a wide open receiver cutting down the middle there, and the defense seems like they're kind of thinking run as those linebackers stay up high, or stay down low, I guess it really is. And you can find the wide open middle of the field. If you can get there, it's going to be a lot of yardage either way. And that one ends up being a touchdown as the receiver is all alone in the middle of the field.
So a touchdown and the extra point is good for the Noble Bears. They increase their lead back out to 10, 27-17. Bears on top of the Bulldogs. We'll be back.
Hold on to me. Don't let me go. Your first name is free. Last name is dumb.
Drive a new Ford Expedition today with 0% financing for 72 months plus 2000 Ford credit bonus cash. Hurry into your Oklahoma Ford dealer.
Dumb.
Welcome back, everybody. We are into the third quarter of play. Just over 7 minutes left as the Noble Bears get the touchdown pass from Fisher to Fisher, as Dylan pointed out. And now they have a 27-17 lead with still plenty of time to go in this ball game for either team to do something. Noble to extend their lead. The Altus Bulldogs able to come back and maybe battle back and get a lead of their own. Fair catch called for on the kickoff. And they'll spot the ball, I believe, at about the 32-yard line.
I think it's 34 more. It's a little closer to that 35-yard line mark.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bulldogs will take it.
short kick nonetheless, either way. Very short kick.
So 1st and 10 for Altus. Kind of recap the scoring. Noble went on top early 17-0, then took a 14-0 lead. Altus scored to make it 14-7. Noble scored to make it 20-7. Then on the ensuing kickoff, Altus returned it for a touchdown to make it 20-14. Bulldogs got a field goal right before half at the buzzer to make it 20-17. And then you just had the touchdown for Noble to give us our score that we have right now, 27-17.
Yeah, not much doing on that run there. The run up the middle from Patterson got swallowed up by the defense, and it was really close to maybe being a horse collar tackle as one of the defensive linemen, the big one up front, got in there and had his hands around that neck area. And we've seen it before a couple of times where it's been kind of an open-ended call. It's not like it's plain black and white that this is how it's going to be called. So it's kind of up to the referee's interpretation. On that one, he said it was a clean one. So it'll just be a 2nd and 11 here for the Bulldogs.
Beach is the quarterback. Get it to the outside, have running room, first down yardage as they get out towards midfield. And the ball carrier on the play for the Altus Bulldogs, number 32, is Chihumu Morgan. He is a junior, 5'10", 150. And again, a first down for the Bulldogs all the way out to their own 48-yard line.
I believe that's his first carry on the night. I've seen him out there on the field, and he's getting involved in plays. And one of the blocks that I mentioned earlier that he had was a big block, but I haven't seen him get much as far as carries go. And we'll see if maybe that big burst there gets him more involved with handling the football.
In the backfield for Altus, number 44 is Peterson. Running play up the middle as he's able to pick up some good yardage. Gets 4 on the play. We'll bring up 2nd and 6.
Yeah, and earlier on you mentioned how Dickerson wasn't seeming to get a whole lot of carries, and he came in as the team leader with 60. And I didn't think much about it because I thought, well, it's early on in the game. Maybe they're just getting a couple of guys into the rotation, and they'll get him more involved as the game goes on. But now we're looking at almost the end of the third quarter, and he still has not seen much of the ball tonight. Maybe a handful of carries, but he has not been the leading back that we expected him to maybe be tonight. It's been a lot of Marshawn Wells and Lathon Patterson.
Maybe more use on defense as well, as he's one of the top linebackers in Class 5A. Here's a running play to the near side of the field. That's going to pick up some good yardage. You can see Wells is asking for one of the Bears to help him up. No help forthcoming, my friend.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, though, Dickerson, one of the leaders of that defense, and I mentioned earlier on that he's committed to OU to go wrestle. So he's kind of got that drive about him that most of those wrestlers do. You know how they play football. It's a very aggressive style of play. We see a lot of those guys that are successful in the wrestling, Matt, be successful out on the football field. He had 73 tackles last season, and now I know he leads the team this season as well. So like you said, maybe just getting more in on the defensive end, so they're saying, oh, we'll sit you out for the offensive side of it.
As I look at some of the defensive stats on the year he has 56 tackles to lead the team on the season, does Cabe Dickerson.
And Hunter Webb is third in the team on tackles with 29, and he has come back from an ACL tear, actually. So seeing him out on the field, I know he got involved with one of the fumbles that Noble had, the fumble earlier on. I believe he's the one that forced it. So good to see him get back out on the field and have a senior season, get it under his belt.
Option to the right side, going to keep it spin towards the middle. Did not get much, maybe a yard. That'll bring up 3rd down and 6. Winding down as we get close to about 3 minutes left to go here in this third quarter. 10-point lead for the Noble Bears.
We've been talking about the size of the defensive line a lot, but look at number 50. We're talking about undersized there. How about 5'9", 205, Tristan Burton plays that nose tackle.
I'm going to guess he's a wrestler.
Probably, yeah, I'd imagine so. But usually you put those nose tackles up there, they're either really big or really small. It kind of depends on how you like that style of play.
And quick. There's a loose football on the pitch, picked up by Noble. For a second, I thought they were going to return another on a scoop and score. But a heads-up play and a tackle there by big number 76, Caleb Leja, and a fumble by Altus as that play just never got going.
You mentioned you thought there might have been a return there. There definitely was a lot of green grass in front of him. I think the only player in between him and maybe the end zone was the quarterback. And so it should have been a long return had he been able to get past that one offensive lineman there, and that's 2 fumbles on the night for Altus, which brings their total to 9 now in 6 games. So they've got to be able to shore up their ball handling if they're going to compete with this flex bone style of play.
Elkins with the carry, and he is thrown to the turf there. The big duo up front, 75, Draven Wybera, 6'1", 320. And also number 78, that is JT Leia, and he goes 5'8" and 215. Altus has been one of the top 5A wrestling squads for quite some time, winning a state championship here or there in the last couple of years.
Good RPO play there from the Bears as you kind of keep that ball tucked into your running back's stomach, but you don't really hand it off to him until you know that it's safe to. And right there, the linebacker gets in, gets some pressure, and he says, all right, well, I'm going to take this one and keep it myself. And quarterback tucks that one and gets a good gain out of it, and now just a 3rd and 4.
Bulldogs show a blitz, passes out to the far side. That's complete. First down yardage and then some. Breaks a tackle, and then finally is pushed out of bounds. They're going to say he went out right at the 30-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Bears.
So we didn't call Braden Fisher's name, I think, at all in the first half, and now in the second half he has a touchdown and a big reception there, but it looks like the play is going to come back. I didn't see what the signal was as far as the penalty. I think it may have been a hold or something, but against Noble either way, and it's going to backtrack him, and that brings it to about a 3rd and 12, 3rd and 13.
No game for us next week on Your View. We'll be back in action again on the 25th when Blanchard takes on Tuttle, and that is a camo uniform game. Be curious to see what all that's about. Pass down the sideline, wide open. This one's going to go for a touchdown, as there were 2 receivers out there and only 1 defender, and an easy touchdown for the Noble Bears. Gavin Yeager again.
Yeah, who else but Gavin Yeager? Another touchdown for him. He had the scoop and score earlier on the fumble recovery, and then he took that one to the house, stiff-arming the quarterback in the process. And now this one, he's coming out of the backfield actually as more of a fullback position. And then they find him going down that sideline. No defensive coverage. And again, this is where that run game starts to open up the pass game. The linebackers are thinking they're just going to hand this one off, or it's going to be a short pass play out to the weak side there. And instead, they go over the top. And they've got plenty of yardage out in front of them. So a touchdown on the board. And now Noble has opened up this game just a little bit.
Now on top, they've doubled up the Bulldogs. 34-17 is our score. And we've got about a minute and a half left to go here in this 3rd quarter of play. We'll take a timeout, come back with the kickoff right here on your Oklahoma Ford Dealers Game of the Week.
Drive a new Ford F-150 today with 0% financing for 72 months plus $1,000 bonus cash. Hurry into your Oklahoma Ford dealer.
Well, the Noble Bears, as the Bulldogs got the field goal right there before halftime to make it a 3-point contest. Noble led it 20-17. But the Bears have put 2 touchdowns on the board, and they have shut out the Bulldogs here in this second half, now leading it by a score of 34-17, just over a minute and a half left to go here in the 3rd quarter. It's a dangerous kick, but they call fair catch. Wisely done there by big number 85. That's Jordan Gillespie. He's a 6'1", 185-pound wide receiver for the Bulldogs. And if you're a fan of Altus, well, you realize that they got to get something going right here.
Well, it's kind of funny that you mentioned that he's a wide receiver for Altus, because otherwise he's probably not going to get mentioned tonight. This Bulldogs offense doesn't even use their wide receivers, so unless they're making a really great block, their names aren't really going to get called tonight. So good to know he got his name out there and he's making some plays in some sort of capacity. But like you said, Altus is going to have to get on the scoreboard here, because if they don't, that clock's going to continue to tick away. We're going to start this fourth quarter, I'd imagine, after this possession, or maybe even in the middle of this possession. So you're going to give yourself very limited time to get back into this game if you don't score here.
Loose football. Was it already down? They're going to say Noble has it. The option play has not worked the last couple of possessions. And there's another turnover, and that gives Noble ideal field position once again at the Bulldog 33-yard line, 1st and 10, and another heartbreaking turnover for the Altus Bulldogs.
Yeah, 3rd fumble on the night, 10th on the season. Noble's going to be able to take over this game if they score right here, and you got to imagine Altus is having some heartbreak out there in Noble right now. As you think you're in the game there at halftime, and something just switches maybe for the Bears offense, or switches in the Noble or the Altus locker room, and for this start of this second half, it hasn't been good for the Bulldogs.
So now looking at a 2nd down and 8. They seem to need a turnover of their own. Short gain on the play. They need to get to the Bulldog 23-yard line. They're going to spot it at about the 28. Looks as though we'll probably have to run one more play before we get possibly to the end of this quarter. Austin Fisher, the quarterback, has had a good game at the QB slot. Handoff left side. Elkins gets to the outside, is met, driven out of bounds, but not before he gets enough yardage for the first down, all the way down to the 21-yard line in Altus territory.
Well, and that play doesn't happen without the great blocking from that Noble offensive line. They created that hole, and it was just enough to get that first down. It wasn't anything big. They weren't going to get 30 yards out of it, but they were going to get enough to get that first down marker. And so now a fresh set of downs here at about the 20-yard line.
Running play, this time off the right side, gets it inside the 20-yard line. And that should be the final play of this third quarter. Clock winding down. The Noble Bears' third quarter belongs to them as they outscore Altus 14-0, and they lead it as we head to the fourth and final quarter by a score of 34-17. We'll be back.
Hold on to me. Don't let me go. Your first name is free. Last name is dumb.
Drive a new Ford Expedition today with 0% financing for 72 months plus 2000 Ford credit bonus cash. Hurry into your Oklahoma Ford dealer.
Dumb.
Welcome back to your Oklahoma Ford Dealers Game of the Week. Noble Bears have pulled out in front of the Altus Bulldogs after a couple of Bulldog turnovers have given the Bears great field position. One they scooped and scored, took it all the way back. Then another one they were able to use the field position, and right now trying to end another drive after another Bulldog turnover. Looking at a 2nd down as 10 as we get underway here in the fourth and final quarter. Running play, sweeping it to the left side. Nobody over there for the Bulldogs as the runner gets inside the 10-yard line. Nice run again. Ezra Elkins has had a big second half.
Yeah, and we've seen a lot of success on these outside rushes, and really on both sides of the ball, but more so for Noble, and they've really exploited those outskirts of the defense as they've done some screen passes, and then, of course, like right there, a sweep. And they're kind of utilizing the fact that they're packing in the box, and it's really been successful for the Bears offense tonight.
Elkins fights his way down to about the 5. Let's see where they give him forward progress to. Looks like it's going to be at least the 3-yard line. So second down and goal from the 3-yard line. It looks like more like the 4.
Yeah, about the 4. Back him up a little bit, but still very close to the end zone, and it shouldn't be a long run into the end zone if they can punch this one in.
Austin Fisher hands it off. Left side gives it to Lorenz, and Lorenz didn't quite get in. But he is right there knocking on the door.
Yeah, it's about as close as you can get without punching it across that line, just maybe about a foot away. Maybe a size 11 shoe away.
That'd be about it. Still a long way to go in the fourth quarter, but you would have to think this would certainly put at least the original nail in the coffin. Fisher's going to keep it himself and just walk into the end zone. Easy job there, and a great job by that noble offensive line. You know, you've mentioned it a couple times, and they certainly have done a great job winning the battle at the line of scrimmage.
Well, and I asked early on in the game if maybe this was going to be a trend that we see from the Noble Bears. The offense that they had last game, 72 points on the board, 6 touchdowns from Austin Fisher alone. And tonight he has 3 rushing touchdowns to his name and 1 through the air. So he's definitely going to continue to build off that performance last week, it looks like. And he has a great performance so far tonight, and there's still 10 minutes to go.
Extra point is blocked, but as you see, with just about 10.5 minutes left to go in the ball game, the Noble Bears have scored it again, and they now lead it by a score of 40-17. We'll take a timeout, continue our coverage right here on Your View.
Ford Game of the Week is the best in Oklahoma, and it's live on Your View, Cox Channel 3. Get your fall break off on the right foot with the Ford Game of the Week day-night doubleheader. Blocking and tackling will be on the menu when Claremore and Memorial meet at high noon on Thursday. Then at 7 p.m., Hale and Edison will tangle as 2 TPS teams hit the field in the nightcap. Watch Claremore and Memorial at noon. Hale and Edison at 7, live on Your View, Cox Channel 3. Kickoff fall break with a Ford Game of the Week. Ford is the best in Oklahoma.
Welcome back, everybody. Noble Bears now on top, leading it by a score of 40-17. They have owned this second half, outscoring Altus 20-0. En route to what they feel will be their 5th win of the season. And we'll move them to 2-0 in district play. High short kick once again, far side of the field. Going to be taken at about the 26-yard line, and that's where the Bulldogs will put it in play. The offense that the Altus Bulldogs run, the flex bone, is great as long as you're in the game. When you have to make up touchdowns and lots of points, that's not a well-built defense for big comebacks.
Well, it's great if you're in the game, and it's also great if you hold on to the football. They've had 3 fumbles tonight, and Noble has capitalized on every single one of them. I mean, it's been 3 fumbles and 3 fumble recoveries for Noble. It's not been a single one recovered by the Bulldogs. And if that trend continues, it's been, the last 2 possessions they've had a fumble? So they're definitely going to have to hold on to that football a little bit tighter, and I'm sure that head coach, offensive coordinator, running backs coach, everybody is stressing that over there on that sideline, saying 2 hands on the football.
Nice gain in the first down play for the Bulldogs, but operating from under center, you don't see many teams do that, much less run the ball as much as Altus does. Again, 6 complete passes on the year, and nobody has 2 receptions.
Yeah.
Everybody has just 1 reception, 6 different receivers.
Tell you one thing, that does wonders for your passer rating.
Well, they're all averaging well over, what you would think, 15, 20, 30, 40 yards a catch, since they only have 1. So when they do throw it and do complete it, they tend to catch the opposition off guard.
That's what I'm going to say. The defense isn't ready for it, probably, is what's going on, is the defense is thinking it's going to be another run up the middle or something, so they're packing the box, and then next thing you know, a ball goes over your head. You're thinking, well, where did that come from? I haven't seen that all game.
The offense that they won it with was the same type offense back in 2015, but they had Jared Benway as their quarterback and a couple of other guys that were able to catch the football, and actually had some guys that did have some respectable numbers. Here's a running play up the middle. Should get a good look at the scrum there in the middle. Ball carrier again. Young man number 3, Trey Garcia. He's made a couple of nice runs here this evening, and one of the Bulldogs down on the field, rolling over, Here's number 53. That is Cale Gallagher. He's able to get to his feet, and that's a tough young man there, shaking it off, saying, I'm all right. Everybody else is out on the field. They're ready to tend to him, and he says, no, I'm good.
Yeah, it's probably best to go to the sideline and get checked out for that one, though. It looked very difficult for him to get up, so I'd imagine they're going to go through concussion protocol over there and make sure he's all right before any decision is made as to whether he should get back into the game today or not.
Yeah, I think he's mad he got hurt.
Yeah, probably. I used to be like that when I played. I'd get mad whenever I was, had an ankle roll or anything like that. You get upset. You want to be out there on the field. You want to be out there in the game.
2nd and 3, up the middle, trying to hurdle the defensive line. And that is number 33 for the Bulldogs. Was it 33? I don't have a 33. Maybe it wasn't 33.
I was paying more attention to the offensive lineman that he was hurdling over. It looked like number 63, Elias Sully's, had his defensive lineman well taken care of, took him down to the turf, but at the same time, the running back's supposed to be going up that gap, and it kind of blocked it up, and so he had to think quickly on his feet, and obviously couldn't quite stick the landing, we'll say, as he tried to hurdle over them and ended up just kind of tripping over it.
It's probably Garcia. And here's a running play. That's going to get first down yardage. Good run there by Cabe Dickerson. But again, now you're working from a 20-point or 23-point deficit, and your offense is predicated upon moving the football and not being a hurry-up type offense.
Yeah, and the rushing attack doesn't do him any favors as far as the clock goes with how, when you run the ball, the clock's going to tick down. And so they started this possession just about 10.5 on the clock, and now already within that 7.5 minute marker or so. So you can see the clock is not their friend right now.
Running play gets about 3-4 yards perhaps. But again, that play ended at the 7:30 mark, so let's see before they're able to snap it again. And they are trying to hurry up as much as they possibly can with this offense. And now they're going to have an injury, as it looks like number 24 is trotting off the field. That's Joseph Buxton.
Onto the field came in number 32, Chahimu Morgan. He had a good run earlier. Just that one carry, though, I believe, on the night.
Yeah.
He doesn't really get as involved in the run game as you might think. He's usually kind of one of those lead blockers as you can kind of see him in the backfield just behind the offensive line.
They pull the right guard, trying to get him over there to get some additional blocking. Helps some, but not much. Gain of 2 maybe on the play.
You said that last play ended at 7:30, right?
Yeah.
That one started at 6:52. So about 38 seconds go off the clock in between those two plays alone. So you can tell that this offense is one that the clock likes because it can continue to run, but at the same time, it doesn't do them any favors when they're down 40-17. They need to be kind of in full speed ahead mode, but at the same time, you can't because it's such complicated play calling with this flex bone. You're telling every guy to go which way, and so it's all about confusion and trying to deceive the defense. And when you've got those kind of complicated plays where you're running so many different guys out of the backfield, it's going to take some time to really get that play call out and get it just how you want it.
Short gain on the play and a Bulldog down. That may be the ball carrier that we just saw, number 44, Patterson. And he is down on the ground and obviously not in a hurry to get back up. Look for them to roll him over. He's grabbing at the lower leg portion. And obviously we hope, and the Altus players have taken a knee. And we'll check and see what we can find out when we come back. You're watching your Oklahoma Ford Dealers Game of the Week. Noble on top of Altus. They lead it 40-17.
Drive a new Ford F-150 today with 0% financing for 72 months plus $1,000 bonus cash. Hurry into your Oklahoma Ford dealer.
Fourth down and 6 for the Bulldogs. Patterson, the injured running back on the play. They got him up off the field. Bulldogs are lined up, try to get this conversion here on a 4th and 6. Running play to the left side, and again running to the short side of the field. They say he did stay in bounds, but the turnover on downs will give the ball back to the Bears right at their own 30-yard line.
And that should put the bow on top of this one. I'd imagine Noble will let this clock run out. It should be a lot of a rushing offense here. And with 5:49 to go, there could be a lot more still to play and a lot more still to happen, but I would imagine that there's going to be a lot of runs on this possession, and this clock will tick away pretty quickly.
So the Bears from their own 30-yard line. Fisher, and we've had some guys move. Looked like the left tackle moved, the right tackle moved. There was a guy from Altus that came across the line. So they're going to have to discuss this one and figure it all out. Remember the plus-minus system as far as scores are concerned. It used to be unlimited. Like if you beat your opponent by 60 points, you got a plus 60 for that game. But they put a cap on it a couple years ago to say you could only gain or lose 15-point max, and therefore you don't have some of the blowouts when some teams who were late in the season absolutely had to have those points would score as many points as they could against some of their woeful opposition. But now the most you can get is a plus 15 or a minus 15, and right now Noble has pretty much taken care of that plus 15 so far here this evening. I think I only saw it come down to plus or minus points in one occasion, and that was probably a good 10 years ago, where a team actually with a winning record did not get to go into postseason play because there was a three-way tie, and they ended up on the bottom end of those plus-minus points.
Now, it's got to be frustrating, especially when you say they got a winning record. You go out and you play a good season. You have a winning record, like you mentioned, and go out and win a lot of games, and held out of postseason play, don't even get a shot at a title because something as minuscule as maybe 3 points.
Right. Running play to the near side of the field. They're going to say he did stay in bounds, so the clock continues to run. 3rd and 9 coming up for the Bears. You can see the clock in the background there. Owning a 40-17 lead. It was 20-17 at the half, but the Bulldogs unable to get any offense going, and obviously a lot of that credit has to go to the Noble defense. Fisher starts one way, then hands it off as they reverse their field. Big collision out about the 42-yard line. That'll bring up a 4th down as one of the Bulldogs a little slow to get up.
That's number 3, Trey Garcia, somebody we've seen really get involved on the offensive side of the ball. He's one of those running backs that gets a lot of carries out of that flex bone offense. And right there getting involved in a big collision with Ezra Elkins. And that one will take him to the sideline, and it should be a punt here from Noble. So he may be able to get a long break as he can let his other running backs by committee handle the carries this time out.
Snap is back, ball is away. And again, look at that.
He's great bounce, yeah.
The all-time record for the longest punt in NFL history, and I know it hasn't changed. Why? Because, well, it was 99 yards. And Steve O'Neill, old of the Jets, and I'm talking, we're going back to the 60s, so forgive me. But, it was one of those cases where it was just a simple punt, but you get it up in the Denver air, as he did that day, and it hit, and it took off and ran all the way down to the opposite 1-yard line. And that is one of those records that will never be broken.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you go back to the 60s maybe about once or twice a broadcast, so I expect it at this point. But, no, that's incredible to have a ball go 99 yards, and it's something that, like you said, it's not going to be broken. There's no way you can repeat that. You're going to have to be holding a bunch of 4-leaf clovers and know where the end of the rainbow is to be able to find another 99-yard punt anytime soon. It's just it's very rare to even get maybe 60, 70 yards out of it. So to get that far out of one punt, I can tell you one thing, that would have been fired up sideline for sure.
I don't think it's happened since then, but it's one of those things. As a youngster, I studied all those records, and some have been broken, and I didn't keep track of who broke the record, but again, that was maybe tied but never broken. So the Bulldogs with the football, and less than 3 minutes left to go. Played Noble tight through the first half, but just unable to get anything going offensively in the second half. Here they're going to throw the ball deep, and no receiver really in the vicinity. Out there, the only one was number 24, and that would be Joseph Buxton.
Well, I could be wrong, but I think that's only the second time they've let it fly. There was another one where they could have thrown the pass. It was a pass play, was clearly the intention, and the quarterback kept it himself and ended up going down. And that was right before halftime. That's how Altus ended up going with a field goal. But I could be wrong. That may have been either the first or second time, for sure, that they have actually thrown the ball tonight.
No completions, is that right?
No completions.
Don't believe so. Pitch it out to the far side, looking for some running room. Gets some. He has the first down. That'll stop the clock. Move the chains with just about 2.5 minutes remaining. Again, we mentioned no game for us next week. And we'll be back at you the week after that when we have the Blanchard and Tuttle game. And then maybe another game or two before we get towards the end of the season. So make sure that you check yourview.com/Oklahoma to keep up to date as to what's going on. Always some good stories on there as well. First and 10, pitch coming to the near side, and that's not going anywhere. Is that Mr. Yeager again?
I believe it was, yeah, getting in there on the tackle. And number 16 was the one that got pitched out to Jeremy Dixon, another running back getting into the fold here for the Altus Bulldogs late in the game. Let some of those guys who maybe don't get as many carries get involved. And Jeremy Dixon is actually just a freshman, so you can tell they're starting to go deeper into their bench and starting to use some of those guys that maybe aren't highlight players, aren't getting the carries week in and week out. And so as time ticks away, let some of those guys get involved.
Second down and 17 for the Bulldogs. After a loss on the play. Handoff coming up the middle, right at you. And ball carrier there, I believe, was 25. That would be DeMarco De La Paz.
And he came into this game as one of those players that I had written down on my paper, actually, because he had 23 carries coming into this game, 170 yards, 5 touchdowns, which was tied for the lead in touchdowns for Altus. The only other one that had 5 touchdowns to his name was Lathon Patterson. Maishawn Wells came in with just 1 touchdown to his name, and Cabe Dickerson, the leading ball carrier with 60 carries coming into this game, only had 3. Although De La Paz has got a lot of touchdowns to his name and a lot of carries to his name, this is actually, I believe, the first run that he's had all night.
Pitch it out to the far side, and that's dropped in the backfield. And now Noble's just waiting for them to pitch the ball and seeing if they can create another fumble. And that looks as though it may be the final play of this contest. Referee puts the ball down. Both teams head towards their respective sidelines, and that's going to do it as the Noble Bears defeat the Altus Bulldogs, improve their record to 5-1 on the season with a convincing 40-17 victory over Altus. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll take a look at the highlights from our game and also check some of those final scores from across the state when we come back.
Hold on to me. Don't let me go. Your first name is free. Last name is dumb.
Drive a new Ford Expedition today with 0% financing for 72 months plus 2,000 Ford credit bonus cash. Hurry into your Oklahoma Ford dealer.
The Ford Game of the Week is the best in Oklahoma, and it's live on your view, Cox Channel 3. Get your fall break off on the right foot with the Ford Game of the Week day-night doubleheader. Blocking and tackling will be on the menu when Claremore and Memorial meet at high noon on Thursday. Then at 7 p.m., Hale and Edison will tangle as two TPS teams hit the field in the nightcap. Watch Claremore and Memorial at noon. Hale and Edison at 7, live on your view, Cox Channel 3. Kickoff fall break with a Ford Game of the Week. Ford is the best in Oklahoma.
Hold on to me. Don't let me go. Your first name is free. Last name is dumb.
Drive a new Ford Expedition today with 0% financing for 72 months plus 2,000 Ford credit bonus cash. Hurry into your Oklahoma Ford dealer.
Welcome back to your Oklahoma Ford Dealers Game of the Week, everybody. You see our final score there at the bottom. It was a good game for a half. 2017 was our halftime score, but the Noble Bears outscored Altus in that second half 20-0 as they go on to the victory tonight, 40-17, our final score. Let's take a look at the highlights, go all the way back to the first half of play, and it was Noble that got on the scoreboard first, Dylan.
Yeah, of course, Austin Fisher was the one that had the carry over here. It went over to the weak side. A couple of lead blocks from his running back Ezra Elkins and Gavin Yeager, who both had a very good games. Created enough space for Fisher to get into that little corner of the end zone and put the first 6 points on the board.
And then, as you mentioned earlier, it was a scoop and score on the next go-round.
Yeah, Gavin Yeager, the one that I just mentioned, who had a great game tonight. He gets involved on the defensive side of the ball just as much as he does on the offensive side of the ball. He picks up the football and stiff arms the quarterback on his way to the end zone, and that made it a two-score game right off the bat.
And then Altus decided they were not out of this contest just yet as they got their first touchdown to make it a 7-point ball game.
Yeah, and we were wondering how this Altus offense was going to fare against Noble's defense. And right away, they showed that power running game can get into the end zone. The whole team getting in on that one and getting a push against that defense and pushing it into the end zone from about 4 yards out where that first contact was made.
14-7 at that point, but then Noble gets another touchdown to increase their lead to 20-7.
Once again, Austin Fisher will run this one in, and he goes off to the left side, the weak side once again. And a great block from Elkins and a great block from Gavin Yeager. Does that look similar, Steve? Because that happened just a minute ago, didn't it?
We've seen that before, haven't we? And then the ensuing kickoff. You get to see the Altus Bulldogs. Just see kind of at the end of it as he's going to take it to the house.
Yeah, Maishawn Wells is one of those running backs that gets utilized in the backfield of this flex bone offense for the Bulldogs. And right there showing that he's got the skills to be a good return man as well. He's very fast. He's probably the fastest one out of that backfield that I've mentioned. And so Wells getting the return touchdown there and keeping Altus in the ball game.
And the Bulldogs would tack on a field goal right there at the end to make it a 3-point contest at the half.
Yeah, and this one was the one where I mentioned the quarterback probably could have let the ball go and thrown it to a receiver that was kind of cutting across the middle wide open, but instead he tucked it and went down. And so at that point they were faced with, do we go for it on 4th and 3, 4th and 4, or do we just take the 3 points? And they said, let's guarantee ourselves 3 points, make it a 3-point ball game at half, and we can come out in the second half and maybe play a little better.
3-point ball game at the half, but it was all Noble in the second half.
Yeah, so they thought they may come out and play a little bit better, but it seems like Noble came out and played a lot better because the passing game started to get on hand for the ball game tonight, and you found number 24 cutting across the middle there, Braden Fisher. I mentioned how the running game opens up the passing game. The linebackers were all sucking up forward and didn't see that there was a receiver cutting right along the backside and a wide open receiver, Fisher to Fisher for the touchdown.
That made it 27-17, and then Noble would put it away with this one.
Yeah, that one too. Yeager going down the sideline, kind of the same thing. Those linebackers suck up on the play action there, thinking it's going to go straight to the running back, Ezra Elkins. And instead, quarterback says, I've got an arm too. I'll find the open receiver. And he finds Gavin Yeager cutting down that sideline. It's a big target, so it's tough to miss him. And
then one more touchdown for the Noble Bears as they go on to win it by a final score of 40-17.
Yeah, another run. It's just a short punched into the end zone, and that one wrapped this game up. And we were talking about it. If Altus didn't get a stop there, or if Altus didn't get up on the scoreboard pretty quickly, it was going to wrap the game up, and it really did. Noble ends it 40-17. And before you turn it over to the end of the game, I want to mention that the final score, or not final score, actually, it's fourth quarter, of Bethany and Tuttle. Bethany is up 21-0. There's just the fourth quarter play to go.
And Heritage Hall defeating Perkins tonight. Tanner, you got a final on that one? 2021? 28-21, Heritage Hall over Perkins. That'll do it for the crew tonight. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Thanks to Tanner Wade, Brad Shelton, also Riley Cowan, Dylan Rivera, and Mark Jeffries. I'm Steve Marshall. We'll see you in 2 weeks, everybody. So long.